is love, right? Well, you might say, we all know what love is. We don't need a day wasted to explain what it is. And I have no doubts about that. But let me tell you a secret. What you think is love could be totally different from what another person might think. Which means each one of us could be having a completely different definition of what love is for us. Basically, it's a concoction of many feelings that is unique to each individual. And this is because love is a mental construct that each person builds in their mind based on their own experience of love, which in turn builds neural pathways, which in turn determines how they can give and receive love. Now, I'd like to present this perspective. When it comes to relationships, I believe love should be looked at as a journey. The first stage, which is the foundation stage, this is where the romantic kind of love happens, which is basically all about those rosy feelings, those butterflies. Though usually short-lived, these will be the trigger for you to let that person into your life. And based on how things progress, this will ultimately transform into the ultimate form of love, which is much bigger, more giving and unconditional. Most of you might have experienced this as a kid from your parents. But what are the things that take the journey from the foundational love to the ultimate love? When the journey starts, for the foundational love, the emphasis is more on chemistry and less on compatibility. And for it to transcend into the ultimate love, the emphasis is more on compatibility and less on chemistry. Now you see me using these words chemistry and compatibility. What do they mean? Chemistry is nothing but the seductive attraction that's created between two people based on the course of events between them. Remember, at this stage, you're not yet interacting with the psyche of the person. This is purely based on the events that are happening and your reactions to them. But there is a caveat to it. These events can be formulated just like the events scripted in a movie for a specific outcome. Regardless the events being natural or formulated, a relationship that's just based on chemistry might not be able to transform into the ultimate form of love if there is no follow through with compatibility. Now, what is compatibility? Compatibility is nothing but a measure of how naturally and effortlessly things work out between two people, without them having to feel that they need to limit themselves to be with that person. Now, does that mean there are no conflicts or disagreements? No. But are you able to resolve those conflicts and disagreements in a way that works for both? That is a question you need to ask. So, one good thing about compatibility is that it cannot be faked. Even if someone tries to fake it, they might be able to do it in the short term, but in the long run, their original beliefs and behaviors are always going to play out. So, the only problem here is, if you're unable to see those signs, you might have already entered into a long-term relationship before you could have actually experienced their true personality. So now, you know what the journey of love is and what chemistry and compatibility mean. Keep in mind that it is a common pitfall to enter into a relationship only for the chemistry, overlooking compatibility and only wondering later why things are so difficult. So for today's exercise, your task number 1, think about your definition of love. Does that still serve you, or do you want to redefine it? In your task number 2, can you think of any situations or scenarios in your life where you mistook chemistry for compatibility?